Well, in the shadow of the Cooley Mountains, not far from the border, the latest chapter in this compelling, pulsating, captivating title race is about to be written. The champions, Linfield, are in Warrenpoint. The leaders play first against a team who have a huge mountain to climb if they are to survive in the Danske Bank Premiership. Warrenpoint starting the day bottom of this league, and they are up against it, as we just heard their manager Barry Gray say. He says they need a football miracle if they are to pull this off. As for Linfield, they are looking to extend their lead at the top. The trophy has been theirs in recent times, but the challenge is coming from Cliftonville and also from Glentoran. It's a beautiful day here. The sun is out and the fans are out too, as Warrenpoint welcome Linfield to this beautiful scenic venue. Well, let's take a check on the teams for you, and Barry Gray makes 3 changes to the side, which were heavily beaten here by Coleraine on Tuesday. There's a start for Kieran O'Connor, who's on loan here from Glentoran and could do his parent club a huge favour as he leads the attack. Adam Wickstead will play just behind him as Warrenpoint start with this 4-4-1-1 formation. The plan is to frustrate Linfield for as long as possible. They did that in a 1-1 draw in Belfast in December when Jonathan Leddy scored. He starts at left back today. Leading scorer Alan O'Sullivan is amongst the substitutes. Well, Etu Virtanen will have the confidence coursing through his veins right now after he scored 4 against Dungannon Swifts at Windsor Park last week. He's partnered by Ethan Devine in attack. There's plenty of experience in that Linfield midfield with Jamie Mulgrew and Chris Shields alongside Stephen Fallon. Christy Manzinga serves the final game of his ban. So, Diarmid, who could be key in this contest for you today?
Listen, I think this man in shot here is pivotal to everything. You're looking at experience, professionalism when you come down places like this. It's a warm day, sticky surface, so he's done it with Dundalk for years, led them to titles down south, so he'll be looking to get himself a title up here as well. So people like him be essential. And then this man for Warrenpoint, Mr. O'Connor. Listen, Warrenpoint are going to be under the cosh for large portions of the match. Can he get us up the pitch and get a hold of it and potentially even nick a goal?
It will be Linfield to get us underway. Stephen Gregg is the man in charge. So where is this title race heading next? This the final game before the split for both Linfield and Warrenpoint. And Linfield, who kick off first this weekend, are looking to put the pressure on those behind them. And it's great, Diarmid, to have such a competitive title race.
Yeah, it's fantastic, and you look at the variety of teams as well. You've got full-time teams and part-time teams both competing at the top end. Cliftonville, obviously, people had written off earlier in the season, but they've shown now they'll kick on off the back of the League Cup and try and really push Linfield to the end. I'm sure Glentoran will be disappointed as well. They've dropped a few points of late, so they'll be looking at fixtures like today and think this is a sticky word for Linfield, and hopefully they can be a little bit complacent.
Yeah, Glentoran play on Monday, a game you can see live on Sky Sports. Well, David Healy was booed out of the dressing room by his own players after the victory over Dungannon last week because he told them what the training schedule was for this week.
I think David has proved since he's come in at Linfield, listen, his record stands for itself, and I actually spoke to him before the game, and I said it's a credit to him that they never seem to drop off, and I don't want to jinx him, but they never seem to drop their level for games like this, and they remain professional, which is a testament to the staff and the manager.
Yeah, he knows they cannot take a breather at all. Shields looking to step in for Linfield. An experienced head at the heart of their midfield. Forward by Calica. Shields slamming the door shut again. So he's been a keen watcher of this particular league, even when he was playing south of the border and winning titles with Dundalk.
Yeah, and I think he's picked the right time. Obviously 31 and part of his career, he's done enough down south, and he's proved what he's all about. So from his side of things, it's a challenge to come up here. Massive club, big expectation, and And a league isn't enough at Linfield. It's always, can you get the double, can you get the treble, can you kick on in Europe? So it's a challenge for him coming towards the twilight years of his career as well.
The header won by Ethan Devine. Barry Gray has told his Warrenpoint players just to dig in, hang in there, and try and keep Linfield out for as long as possible. He's a happy pessimist, Barry Gray, if there is such a thing.
Yeah, we had a good chat with him. I think, listen, he understands they're up against it. They're in a very, very tough spot now at the minute. The recent defeat to Portadown is a bit of a nail for them and potentially in their coffin. But all they can do is be positive and try and kick on. And you never know, something like this could be the catalyst for change for them going into the run-in.
Well, he was absolutely raging furious with Tuesday's collapse against Coleraine. Says it was 6 minutes of madness. And they lost any kind of self-respect. They were 4-1 down at the break, eventually ended up losing 5-2 here.
Yeah, and I think, listen, he'll be looking at a reaction. That's the reason someone like that says those kind of comments. They're around the game long enough to know the players will, maybe some will think he's out of order, some will agree with him, but they'll get some level of bounce anyway, and I'm sure this week has been a decent week of training after it.
Leddy with a throw for Warrenpoint. Forward by Gallagher. The header won by Dylan Hand. Ray O'Sullivan operating at right back again for Warrenpoint. Standing in the way there of Fallon.
Yeah, two solid banks of four here for Warrenpoint. I don't think they'll stray too far. They'll be looking at, as I said, pre-game, can O'Connor get them up the pitch? Can Wickstead stay in touch and try and get themselves a little bit of possession up the pitch?
Fallon was involved again. It was Ray O'Sullivan who took the hit. There's Wickstead, who's operating just behind Kieran O'Connor in this game today. And O'Connor was trying to link up with Wickstead.
That's encouraging from them though as well. That'll be a combination they'll be looking to have throughout the game. He does well initially. O'Connor gets a hold of it and looks to thread him. It's a good line. Oh, I was about to say it's a good line from Jimmy Gallagher, but I think possibly that might have been a harsh decision on Wickstead there. It's a good run, and they'll be looking to combine like that later in the game.
Matanin involved. Again, it's O'Sullivan who's gone down here for Warrenpoint. He's taken a couple of hits in the last few minutes.
Yeah, so that's the nature of the league in the Irish League. You get used to it, but that does look like a solid landing there. It's as I said, it's a dry pitch today, so a sore one, but I'm sure he'll get a little magic sponge and he'll be up in no time to get going again.
Well, the home team are 12 points behind Portadown, who are in 11th position, just one place above Warrenpoint, and that is why it's going to be tough now for Barry Gray and his team to stay in the top division. But they will keep fighting, and fight is what he wants to see.
And listen, he knows he's not looking at starry-eyed. He knows the level of club he's at. The expectation here as well is that they will potentially be a yo-yo club, and they will look to try and kick on and get back in the division next year, and I'm sure the planning has already started for that.
O'Sullivan is back on the pitch as McKenna dealt with that.
Dan! No crosses! You're getting half his match fee. Give him the football, that's his job. No crosses!
Chance for Salam to spear this inside the Warrenpoint box. He's on the launch pad as he tries to pick out a Linfield shirt. Warrenpoint managed to deal with it, and Shields will pick up the pieces here for Linfield, the champions. That's O'Connor leading the breakout for Warrenpoint. McKenna. It's Ball and Reddy who are patrolling the left-hand side for Warrenpoint today. That was off the head of Daniel Byrne. And the referee was just waiting to see how that played out, and the free kick goes the way of the experienced Jamie Mulgrew.
Yeah, Warrenpoint will be disappointed. It was good play down the right side, good switch as well, and leads to this little battle handbags between the two captains. But from a Linfield point of view, good to see Mulgrew back in the team as well. He's possibly not had as much joy with injuries this season, but good to see him alongside Shields in centre midfield, and I'm sure that'll be a huge positive for the run-in.
Looking for his 10th title with Linfield is Jamie Mulgrew, but this is McKenna looking for something for Warrenpoint. On the outside is Kieran O'Connor, but again, Linfield had dealt with it, and you could see the positional sense there of Chris Shields. Away by Leddy. No holding back from Jimmy Gallagher. So important that Linfield did manage to keep him last summer, when there was talk of him potentially leaving because of Linfield's switch to full-time football. A few players had to make a few big decisions because of that.
Yeah, he was Jimmy in particular was extremely sought after. I think every club was looking to speak to him, whether it be full-time or part-time, and I know he potentially had financial packages elsewhere that were potentially better, but he's been here a long time now. He's proven what he's all about. I think he's from the local area around Windsor as well, so I think it's a massive boost for David that he was able to secure him and get him over the line.
That's Connor Mitchell in goal for Warrenpoint. Fractured a cheekbone and an eye socket recently, hence the mask. Devine with eye, but beaten to the punch as Shields. Forward by Gallagher. The ball was allowed to bounce, and Vatanen was challenged there. A robust challenge on Vatanen, which he's getting used to in this particular league, and he looked pleadingly towards the referee, but didn't get what he was looking for.
Yeah, I think that was a case of Mr. Byrne welcoming him nicely to Warrenpoint and welcome to the league. Obviously, got a few goals last week and on loan from St. Johnstone, but still settling into the league. Obviously, a finish on the 21 international as well, but I think he gets swiftly sent up the gym here. In another league across the world, potentially it's a foul, but it's a case of up you get, son, and play on.
Yeah, the first time he scored 4 goals in a professional game last week. Eetu Vatanen, the Finnish striker. I don't think the Linfield kitman was too happy. He doesn't like giving his footballs away when hat-tricks are scored at Windsor. No,
notoriously isn't great. I remember Andy Waterworth telling me that for years, so.
Salam in combat with O'Sullivan. And it's a goal kick. It has been relentless at the top end of this league, and David Healy knows that his Linfield team cannot stumble, they cannot take a breather, because Cliftonville and Glentoran are right behind them and ready to pounce.
Yeah, and I think, listen, there's enough experience in the team that have been there and done it. Obviously, you mentioned Shields, you mentioned Mulgrew, Gallagher. That's what it's all about. John's in goal as well. But there is a few young players here as well, because obviously it was a change of the guard for Linfield in the summer. So if David's team can go and get over the line, it'll be some achievement for them this season.
Vatanen on the move. And that almost ricocheted kindly for Linfield. The goalkeeper, Connor Mitchell, making that challenge. But Warrenpoint almost got themselves into a bit of a mess.
Yeah, a little bit of a comedy of errors here. It's good play by Vatanen originally, but fair play to Shields. Regardless of his face injury recently, he gets his body on the line and snuffs it out. Fallon looking to sneak in on the blind side of the defender.
Forward by Adam Wickstead. There's Shields being hunted down by Wickstead.
I think naturally the type of game this is, it'll see Linfield potentially, they like to build from the back, but they'll potentially go a little bit longer like this kind of ball now to see Warrenpoint are all about and test them early, because the pitch is dry, the pitch is active, and that's exactly what Warrenpoint will want them playing in front of them.
Yeah, Linfield are a team who can do both. Can play it out from the back, can go long. Every tool in the box, and that is what makes them champions.
And again, a credit to the management, because it's very difficult at a club like this, when the expectation is win every single game by 4 or 5 goals, to also try and add in a bit of style and a bit of youth development, a bit of everything into it. It's been a credit to David since he's come in, off the back of fantastic managers that he inherited as well.
But Tandon, again, looking to get involved. Foul on O'Connor.
He's done well. He's going to have a sore back tomorrow, O'Connor, because he's going to be in that kind of battle all day, I think, with the likes of Roscoe and in particular Jimmy Gallagher. They won't shy away from a physical battle coming through the back of them.
There's Stephen Ball. The ball has crept out of play. David Healy did head down south to watch Warrenpoint's game against Coleraine on Tuesday night, and he headed back in a bit of a pessimistic mood. There's a bit of a theme here with the managers, just because of the mistakes that Warrenpoint made against Coleraine. He knows that they're unlikely to make those mistakes again, and he's warned his players of that. Do not be complacent, but Linfield have made a bright start here.
Yeah, and I think that's the madness of managers. I think that naturally they look at a pessimistic side of things, and I think they naturally want their opposition to actually be in reasonable form in a game like this. But it looks like a banana skin. You'd prefer them to be playing really well, and you can talk up how good they're doing and how well they're playing, rather than listen, they're dead and buried and they look like they're being relegated. Then that maybe leads to a little bit of complacency.
O'Connor. Salam back defending for Linfield. Yeah, I've got to be honest, I was having a great day until I spoke to both managers with you earlier on.
To be fair, they both laughed about it, but they were both extremely pessimistic before the game, so it'll be interesting to see which one of them actually works. But to be fair, my manager at St Mirren tells me the same thing. All the best leaders are pessimists, so...
Well, there you go. This is Ray O'Sullivan with the throw for Warrenpoint, and the header is in from Ball. Warrenpoint stun Linfield, and the shock could be on.
Fantastic, nice and simple, long through. Linfield looked to switch off, and he just helps it on into Ball's path, and a little bit more hopeful than anything else from Ball, but creeps in. Johns is planted to the spot and can't react to it.
Well, who saw this coming?
Yeah, it looks like Salam is the man who lets his man go, and then at the far side, simply pick your man up in the box, and Ball comes in, he gambles, heads into a space and in off the post, and it could be that start that Warrenpoint had dreamed about before we kicked off.
A big moment for Stephen Ball, his first goal for Warrenpoint, and thinking to do for David Healy.
Yeah, so maybe the pessimistic point of view from Mr. Gray wasn't the way forward, but no, listen, it gives them something to hang on to, and that's exactly what they'll be looking for, set plays and hit them on the counter much as possible, so they'll be happy with that, stay in a solid 4-4-1-1 now and stay behind the ball and look to consolidate to half-time if they can.
Wickstead looking for O'Connor. Gallagher steps in. Wickstead again. There's a bounce in the step of Warrenpoint Town here. He's away from Shields. Last-ditch defending as Ball gets involved again, and Salam with the clearance, but a scuffed clearance. And here come the home team again.
This is exactly what you're looking for from the home side. And listen, they're in a tough spot in the league, but fair play to them. They've come out with the blocks, and the goal will give them a little bit of enthusiasm off the back of the disappointment against Coleraine, and they're now right in the game. Lovely day for it, playing against the champions and the top of the table, so why not have a go and enjoy yourself?
Well, they come up with a goal from a throw-in from this side of the pitch from Ray O'Sullivan, and he's standing on the launch pad again here. Wickstead. O'Sullivan. Away by Roscoe. That's Keelan Dillon. Now Leddy. O'Connor. He's shown some nice touches already in this game.
Yeah, he's done well so far. Listen, it's going to be a thankless shift for him sometimes when he's in corners of the pitch to try and get a hold of it. But if he can keep taking the pressure off his back four and give them a break from defending, then that'll be the key for him. And if he gets a side of goal, then have a go and see how he gets on.
That's Roscoe. Now Jamie Mulgrew, and the referee bringing play to a halt as Warrenpoint have a man down.
Yeah, he just seemed to drop, to be fair. There didn't seem to be much in it. He seemed to be just shuffling alongside the ball almost, and you'd worry because he seems to be in a lot of pain here, so just finds himself hitting the deck all of a sudden, which you'd worry about maybe Achilles or calf or something along those lines. But it'd be an interesting one. You can't imagine it's cramp or anything like that. Obviously the game's only kicked off, so hopefully not a serious injury.
Stuart Hutchinson who's down and in need of some attention, and David Healy's feeling down right now, but his Linfield team have work to do. We've just seen the indication from the medical staff that Stuart Hutchinson's game looks to be over, but this, the big moment in this match so far.
Yeah, and again, so simple when you look at it and you think to yourself, it's extremely passive from the Linfield defenders. They never at any stage get contact on any of the boys in the box, and far too easy. I know David, when he sees that back, will be extremely disappointed.
Yeah, but I can, yeah. I haven't got anybody got it yet.
Well, it looks like Barry Gray will have to make a change here. Disappointing end to the game for Stuart Hutchinson. You just wonder what the long-term effects of that will be, simply in the way that he went down with no one near him, which are always the concerning injuries.
Yeah, I think it'll be Luke Gallagher has been introduced, so a tough one for him as well. But coming in, hopefully he's done a good warm-up and he comes straight in now to the game and get up to speed with it.
So Gallagher on in place of Stuart Hutchinson. Gallagher has been at Burnley and Drogheda. He's a warehouse worker. Warrenpoint are still part-time. These players do have other jobs, proper jobs if you like, including the manager, Barry Graves, an architect.
Yeah, exactly, and that's what it's all about. And that's, listen, Linfield are only newly a full-time setup as well, so a lot of these boys they're well used to working during the day, training at night and grafting at the weekend. So Warrenpoint, a lot of boys based and from down south as well, obviously down towards the border here as well. So Barry's had a lot of success from recruiting from Dublin and from different teams up that direction.
Devine giving chase to this for Linfield. The flag has gone up.
Big day for him. He's not started many games, Devine, so obviously he's got himself a couple of goals since he's come in, but only 3 goals in 10 appearances. But he's not started as many games as I'm sure he'd like, so he'll be looking to kick on now if he can.
Keelan Dillon with the rise. O'Sullivan's clearance charge down. Linfield have won their last 5 games. The last defeat was in East Belfast against Glentoran at the Oval, and in the dressing room afterwards, David Healy challenged his players to win every game from there on in until the split. So far, it's been mission accomplished until they've walked onto Warrenpoint soil today, where they have plenty of work to do.
Yeah, I always remember myself when I was at Crusaders and Stephen Baxter laid out how many points we dropped against the teams in the bottom 6 across the season, the previous season, and we actually made it up the following year, and we won the league by that difference in points. So games like this are massive. It's the games against Glentoran, against Cliftonville, the games against the top teams look after themselves. Generally, you get a share of the spoils, but it's Warrenpoint away that isn't a fashionable day to go to.
Problematic moment there for Chris Johns in the Linfield goal, as the ball went bobbling towards him.
Yeah, I think you could see how active the pitch is. We'll call it active rather than bobbly, I think.
I like that term. There's that active pitch.
Yeah, all the best with that one, isn't it?
Larry Gray just holding onto the ball down below us, saying our ball, and making sure that the officials agreed with him. He's a character, isn't it?
He is that, to be fair. He's been around now long enough that I think the officials know that he can give him a smile, and then at times he can nail him as well on the sideline. So you're nice and close to the action here as well at Warrenpoint, so there's nowhere to hide.
Yeah, they've got a few characters here, including Kathy, who's been looking after us today with the sandwiches.
Yeah, it's exactly what the league's all about. Nice local club and reasonably small support, but it's fantastic to see the cameras here today, and obviously Linfield bringing a decent support down as well, and that's why they're in the Premiership. That's what they want, and that's the reason they'll be pushing hard to get back if they do end up with relegation this season.
Wayward ball from Wickstead. Kirk Miller for Linfield, looking to try and make things happen. Fallon's on the outside. Here is Fallon, back for Miller again, who was beaten to the punch. Roscoe stepping in. Dillon. There's Gallagher.
Yeah, Kirk Miller starting to float around now a little bit. He's left the right wing berth that he's originally in and trying to get on the ball and make something happen.
Foul there on Stephen Fallon. Ideally, David Healy does want to play with a back four, but because of the personnel available right now, he has stuck with this back three system.
Yeah, they're a little bit light in the full-back areas in particular. You look at the likes of Clark and them who've done really well over years. They're not available to him at the minute, so he's had to mix it up and go with a three.
Miller's cross. Mitchell had eyes on it. Took a bit of a hit there as he hit the deck. Linfield with a chance to test him and his team here.
Yeah, it made sense to change the angle, get Miller on the ball down the right side and put a good delivery in the box for Gallagher around the back, and that man's done really well there, taking a hit as well.
Well, Gallagher amongst those waiting inside the Warrenpoint box. He does like a headed goal. Jimmy Gallagher. Plenty of Linfield fans behind that goal. Miller with the corner in towards that near post, sent on his way by O'Sullivan.
Yeah, be disappointed, Miller, with his delivery, his quality from dead balls, from set plays at all times during the game. It's a massive threat for Linfield, and I know since David's taken over, they've had huge success with the likes of Gallagher scoring goals from set plays, so they'll be looking for more quality next time around, that's for sure.
There's Fallon. Chance to measure this cross, and it asked a question of Connor Mitchell, who came up with the answer.
Yeah, you can see he's nice and happy with that one. Catch and practice from Mr. Mitchell. He'll be happy to take the pressure off, slow it down, and get the boys up the pitch as much as possible. A reasonably slow start for Linfield, 25 minutes, 1-0 down. Probably exactly what they didn't want coming down the road, but plenty of time to get back in it as well.
Shields in the mix, away by Dylan Hand. Offside against Warrenpoint.
Yeah, I think O'Connor sleeping a little bit, comes back from an offside position. Linfield now, you're seeing the balance. They're playing short to go longer, maybe tease Warrenpoint out a little bit to create space for runners beyond the ball, but it could be a long afternoon if they just play in front of them, that's for sure.
Shields, Salam. To Vatanen in a scrap.
Yeah, the front two for Linfield haven't had much joy so far. To their credit, they haven't had much ball into them either, but frustrating so far for them. Obviously, Vertanen coming off the back of having a fantastic performance last week as well. He'll be looking to get on the ball in threatening areas as much as possible, but as yet they haven't got them up the pitch, and that'll be key to a success if they can get back in the game.
Yeah, he has arrived at Windsor Park with a bit of a point to prove. He'll admit that himself following his move from St Johnstone. He's determined to stay in football in the UK and believes that the spell at Linfield will help him achieve that.
Yeah, you looked at the transfer, originally the loan, and you think St Johnstone, knowing Scottish football well myself, St Johnstone are struggling to score goals, so you looked at it and thought, right, okay, well, why are they loaning him out? So he definitely has a point to prove, and goes and get himself hopefully double figures for Linfield in the run-in, and then he's got probably the pick of clubs from there, and he could potentially go back to Scotland as well and be an asset.
Loose from Salam, Wickstead, O'Connor to his right. Wickstead has smuggled it through to O'Connor. Kieran O'Connor, Shields steps across in front of him and commits the foul.
Yeah, I'd like to see that again now. It'll be interesting. Shields, O'Connor looks like he turns into it, and Shields looks like he gets quite a bit of the ball here. Yeah, potentially is a foul, but he does get a lot on the ball as well. So this is a massive opportunity for Warrenpoint now, and you're thinking this close in, probably just go with power rather than trying to get up over the ball, but it's a big opportunity for them to kick on and make it 2.
Jonathan Leddy, a goal scorer against Linfield at Windsor Park back in December, has placed the ball down here.
Yeah, for me, I always think now you go keeper side and you hope that he shuffles slightly, maybe get a little deflection off the edge of the wall, because up and over is a tough task from here.
It's Leddy who did go goalkeeper's side, and the follow-up is over the top. Chris Johns making the save and looking to pounce for the second time too.
Yeah, and as much as he doesn't hold it, it's a credit to him that he reacts really quickly and does enough to stop the follow-up. But I think he's, as I said, he does exactly what I would have expected him to do and goes with power, goalkeeper side. And in fairness to Johns, he holds his ground.
Dylan Hand amongst those gathered. The corner is deep, and it's too deep, and it's wasted by Warrenpoint.
Oh, it's a huge frustration for Barry Gray, because that's the opportunity they're looking for. Any set play, take your time, put quality in the box, and hope to kick on and build on it. And it's just a wasted opportunity. They're not going to get too many as the game progresses.
Salam. That's Mulgrew. It was Gallagher snapping in. Nicely done by Keelan Dillon. Another free kick to Warrenpoint.
Yeah, Mulgrew, he's obviously, when he lost the ball initially, his reaction is to try and go and hunt it back, and I think he's just a little bit too overzealous and gives away a free kick. Again, if I'm Warrenpoint here, I'm looking to try and potentially put the ball into an area and go and attack. You're not looking to build beautiful football here. You're bottom of the league. Let's get the ball into good areas if you can.
They're a team who've lost their last 6 games, Warrenpoint. They hold the lead here against Linfield. Devine with eyes on it, and he was being fouled by Dylan Hand, who came in behind him. These Linfield players play with so much pressure loaded onto their shoulders week after week, such is the expectation, the high standards. As a club, they are serial winners. And these players have to play with that pressure.
Yeah, and you add in the full-time, the commitment to a full-time setup, a lot more kind of foreign-based loans, foreign-based players coming in as well. There's been a huge expectation potentially raised as well over the last couple of years, and I know that's with a view to trying to kick on and maybe make a real mark in Europe over the next couple of years as well. So it's certainly not easy, and you can see why Mr. Healy is a stressed man at times.
Wickstead. He's looked lively in this role, just behind Kieran O'Connor.
Yeah, they've linked well. O'Connor's looking for a free kick, but he does well, takes contact, holds the ball up, flicks it around the corner, and Wickstead will be disappointed, because if he puts a little bit less on that, he's got bearing down on Johns' goal.
Warrenpoint's 4-4-2 out of possession as Linfield try and find a way around them. Shields. Salam on loan at Linfield from Hull City. The man who sent him on loan to Linfield, the ex-Hull manager Grant McCann, is a big Linfield fan. A foul there on Shields.
Yeah, it was a shame to see Grant lose his job at Hull. We actually had taken a player from Grant as well to Morecambe, and he actually had done a fantastic job. It's obviously a very tough ask when they're promoted to the Championship to keep them up, but it's been good to see Salam come here and settle in and get himself a good few assists and be pivotal to what Linfield have done this season.
No cross, Dad! No cross!
Devine came short, now he's taken his place back in the box. Vatanin's behind him, and Vatanin involved with that acrobatic effort and held by Mitchell.
Yeah, well done, goalkeeper. Come nice and solid, no risk, no worry, and he just comes and cleans it all out and nice and secure. Take the pressure off your back four and relax and get yourself up the pitch again.
Mulgrew. Vatanin knew he was stepping back from an offside position, so let that first phase pass him by.
That's a good little clearance by O'Sullivan. Perfect place to put it. Put it over the wing back in this setup for Linfield. Make the centre halves chase back towards their own goal, and it's territory. It's almost like a rugby ball when you put it into those areas and see what they can do and put them back in their own half as much as possible.
Away by Roscoe. The captain, Daniel Byrne. There's Fallon. Devine running the channel. He's just about managed to protect the ball, but he's got two for company. He's smuggled it through to Fallon. Another chance here for Linfield to launch this inside the Warrenpoint box, although Fallon thought about going short.
Yeah, Devine did well. As I said, they haven't had much to go on himself and Vertainen so far, but held the ball up, linked well with Fallon and gets them up the pitch.
Salam with a throw again. That's Mulgrew. Salam. It's Fallon. Gallagher was in the way and Connor Mitchell was right on his toes.
Yeah, Fallon, a talented footballer, just doesn't catch it. Gets stuck on the surface. It takes the bite out of the shot, and it's comfortable for that man there to again get a hold on it, calm it down, and get them up the pitch.
Well, about an hour away from here in Belfast. They'll be happy right now in the Oval and also Cliftonville, but they'll also know that there's still plenty of football to be played in this contest, the final game before the split.
Yeah, they will have looked at this today, tight surface, dry day, warm day. They look at it as a potential banana skin. Everyone, if you don't know the league, you'd look top against bottom and think it'll be comfortable, but it's never how it works out.
There's the goal scorer, Stephen Ball, who puts too much on the cross.
Ten minutes now. If they can see it out through the half-time, I'm sure Warrenpoint and everyone associated with Warrenpoint will be absolutely delighted. It gives them a little bit of hope, and then you'll be looking at David Healy and his staff to see how they can rejig it, whether it be from the bench or tactically in terms of the system as well. So a massive 10 minutes here for Warrenpoint.
That got away from Vatanin, who then pushed over Gallagher. There's Kirkmiller. Who is Linfield through and through, and Vatanin bringing that ball under his spell, then hits the deck, and the referee is unmoved, despite the protest from Linfield.
I think there's a little bit of contact, but again, I joked about it earlier on, but I don't think that's the type of foul you get. Oh, maybe he's picked up an injury as well, maybe a hamstring when he stretched, but a little bit of contact, but I think he's going down far too easy for my liking there, but he doesn't seem in a good way. He's sitting on the ground now and waiting for treatment.
Yeah, he's just gestured as if to say that's the end of his game. And it looks like that decision has been made.
Yeah, not a bad sub to come on, that man there, Jordan Stewart. Been there, done it, proved his quality, a different profile of player potentially, but they'll be looking to get him on the ball in high areas and get one-on-one with the Warrenpoint players, because he's a massive threat with massive quality in the final third.
Well, what a difference a week makes for Etu Vatanen. 4 goals last week in the hammering of Dungannon Swift, and now he is off the pitch, injured in the first half at Warrenpoint.
Yeah, seemed to be holding his hamstring, so hopefully nothing too serious from a Linfield point of view. They'll be looking for him to be back in for the run-in, but you can hear the reaction of the Linfield support as well. They're happy to see that man there on the pitch. He's been pivotal in changing games from the bench and from the start over his time at the club and previously at Glentoran as well.
And Linfield do need to offer more of a threat going forward than they have done in this contest so far.
Yeah, I think they've just not turned Warrenpoint enough. Everything's been in front of Warrenpoint and for competing with them in the air, and ultimately that's what Warrenpoint would have wanted coming in today, is keep their 2 banks of 4 behind the ball and try and keep it nice and compact. And with the likes of Miller, with the likes of Stewart, they'll be looking to get the ball beyond them and get one-on-one in the final third if possible.
Well, if we needed any more confirmation, it's the hammy. There it is.
There's me, a medical professional now.
Another string to that bow.
Exactly, I'll have to add that one to the CV.
Such a picturesque setting in the shadow of the Cooley Mountains here at Warrenpoint. And the home team have the advantage.
Again, now take your time, Mr. O'Sullivan. Walk up, take your time, put the ball in the box again and see if Linfield have learned from the goal they conceded early on, because if it's as passive as it was then, it'll lead to another opportunity to get a second.
Wickstead, O'Sullivan, who went short with the throw this time. It breaks down for Warrenpoint. Shields took his time and was almost caught there by McKenna. I think he was actually caught by McKenna, but he managed to move the ball away from the Warrenpoint man.
Yeah, frustrating afternoon so far for Linfield. You can see not a whole pile that they're looking to do is coming off so far, and they just haven't threatened enough, haven't maybe got the foot in the ball enough as well. So it'll be a big 5 minutes here to finish and then get themselves in and see what Mr. Healy can say to them at half-time to get them going.
O'Sullivan, away by Roscoe. There's Mulgrew. Now Shields, fired at Stewart. Gallagher gets back goal side. Salam. There's Devine, having a look at what's in the box. It goes behind for a corner kick. Or is it? If he points to goal kick.
Yeah, I actually think that's the right decision. It's good build-up play by Linfield, probably as good as they've done. Into Stewart, down the side for Devine. I think he's unfortunate. Just comes back off his standing foot, possibly before it goes out. So, well done the referees, up with play, and it's a good decision.
What will encourage Linfield is that Warrenpoint have not kept a clean sheet so far this season.
Yeah, and Linfield don't go to many games and make their mark as well. They always seem to be on the score sheet. They're a threat, and you even look at the bench as well. The likes of Hasty, Quinn, McLean. There's obviously talent on the bench to come off it as well if needs be.
O'Connor, who's after Shields here, and Wickstead got in front of Shields. There's Wickstead again. Mulgrew battling for all he is worth, but Wickstead dug his heels in.
Yeah,
he's had a good first half.
He's done brilliant. He's been fantastic in or around Shields' feet, trying to be a threat as much as possible, and obviously for the running off O'Connor once he gets a hold of it as well. So it's worked well that way for them, that's for sure. And he's probably limited the time and space that Shields gets on it to build play for Linfield.
Miller with the throw. There's Fallon. Goes about his business quietly in the middle of the park for Linfield. Stewart, nicely done. Linfield will settle for the corner.
as always is the way, sometimes you look at it and think, do you know what, Stewart, he's on the bench, he's come off the bench for Vertainen, it's an injury that's led to it, but everything that's been good the last 10-15 minutes has come through him and shows his quality there again, threading a fantastic through ball.
Clutch of players gathered in and around the penalty spot. In towards that near post and nudge goalwards. Devine looking to pick up the pieces. There's Stewart again, who digs that ball out. Fallon bringing it under his spell. Stewart once more. At the heart of everything right now for Linfield, but Warrenpoint have managed to deal with it. Wickstead trying to lead the breakout, but loses out. Goes beyond Devine, and then Devine tries to pounce, but it's gathered by Mitchell.
Yeah, great delivery in from Salam, and it's a fantastic header by Jimmy Gallagher. Hung out at the back, looked for the initial contact, keeps himself onside, and Devine looking to gamble off the second phase, but he's just unlucky. The first touch is just a little bit too heavy.
Roscoe making life awkward for Kieran O'Connor.
This is more encouraging from a Linfield point of view now. The last few minutes, they've definitely heightened the tempo on the ball. They've moved the ball a lot quicker and looked to get Stewart and the likes of Miller on the ball a lot more for a bit of creativity.
Fallon. There's Mulgrew, is a youth coach now at Linfield as well as a player on the day job.
Yeah, I've no doubt Mr. Mulgrew will find himself in the dugout at some stage for Linfield, an absolute legend of the club, and as you said, looking to push on for his 10th title. And from what we hear and from what I know of him, that I hear he has ambitions to kick on at the management once he hangs the boots up.
It's an amazing medal haul that he has, Jamie Mulgrew. But he won't be pleased with life at the moment. His Linfield team, as we head towards the final minute of the first half, looking to try and level up here. Fallon. How's Mulgrew there for support? Goes back instead to Hall. There's Shields. Now Miller with a touch inside. It is better from Linfield. Is there an end product? Well, there's the answer.
Oh, it's a little bit aimless in the end after good intricate play between all three midfielders. Fallon's over there, Mulgrew linking in with Miller as well. But it's just an aimless cross into the box, and when you consider the only real target now they have in there is Devine, it's probably not how they're going to penetrate and look to score.
Wickstead trying to thread that through to Ball. Connor Mitchell taking no chances.
Yeah, good experience by Byrne, gives the young Devine a little bump before the ball goes into the channel to give himself a chance in the race, but Mitchell looking to see the ball outplay but taking no risks and sends it anyway and defends and looks to get over the line for half-time if possible.
We'll have 3 additional minutes. There's Miller. Linfield looking for a big finish to the first half here. Warrenpoint trying to stand their ground to get back into the dressing rooms ahead. Stewart with the ball in, and that could have been awkward for Mitchell, but he managed to gather again.
Yeah, he's done well. He's watched it all the way into his gloves because, as we've seen with the ball back to Johns at the other end, it is an active surface, and it's a good delivery from Stewart into a decent area. You're looking for one of the attacking players just to get across the face of the goalkeeper, but in the end, quite comfortable for him.
He moved here because he felt that Warrenpoint could really push on this season in this league. Did Connor Mitchell. Hasn't turned out to be the case, though, for the league's bottom club. I felt they'd had a really competitive squad here this campaign.
Yeah, I think he's, in fairness to Mitchell, he showed his ambition. He left Larne and after leaving Linfield previously and just wants to play games. That's a credit to him. He could have sat at Larne and potentially taken a nicer wage or a full-time setup as well and not played games, but he's come here to test himself and get in the team. So you're hoping that they can have a little bounce and he can get himself a couple of clean sheets in the run-in.
Forward by Shields. It will drop here to Stewart. Brilliant! How's that for a finish? And Linfield do level up just before the break. It's what champions do.
Yeah, brilliant, fantastic from the sub again, as I mentioned. Sometimes these kind of things are enforced upon you. Good ball in by Shields. Jimmy Gallagher doing what he does around the back stick. Great first contact. Stewart hunting the second ball. That's a fantastic finish on a bobbly surface into the corner. Gives the goalkeeper no chance.
Such a sharp, instinctive finish. How crucial a moment will that be just before the break for Linfield and for that man at Warrenpoint. He is raging.
It's the little things. You just get yourself in at the half-time. The whole team talk changes now. You're looking at Linfield going, tails are up, and they'll know that they've got over the line. They got back to an even keel again, looking to play down the hill in the second half and kick on from where they are. But Barry Gray will be absolutely just gutted going in at half-time and just killed them a little bit.
I thought there was a hill, a slope, but I didn't really want to say, just in case I got my angles wrong.
Yeah, listen, it's not Everest, but at the end of the day, there's a slight slope going down the hill, and I think whenever I've been here previously, it's always been harder playing up. So I think Linfield will be happy looking down there and hoping to kick on the second half.
Well, the leaders were in trouble, the champions were in trouble on Warrenpoint soil until that man, Jordan Stewart, in additional time at the end of the first half, stepped up with a sharp finish after coming on from the bench, and that was after Warrenpoint had stunned Linfield after Stephen Ball had put the home team ahead. At the break, Warrenpoint 1, Linfield 1. Half-time here at Milltown. Warrenpoint and Linfield locked at 1-1. Jordan Stewart levelling up just before the break. And look at Barry Gray's reaction here. He's on the dance floor, but he's not too happy because he knows that could be a costly goal to concede right on half-time. Stephen Ball, a man who gave Warrenpoint the lead with that header before Jordan Stewart stepped off the bench to replace the injured Etu Vatainen and levelled up with a sharp finish. Linfield back out for the second half. What do you want to see more of from Linfield now?
Listen, I think they have to build on the last 10 or 15 minutes that they've done in the half, and you can see they're out nice and sharp, out nice and early. They know exactly what they need to do, and get the likes of Miller, Fallon, Stewart, the creative players on the ball in the final third, and then from there just hope the pressure comes off in the second half, because obviously Warrenpoint will drop deeper and deeper as they go on.
Well, we're waiting for Warrenpoint to re-emerge for the second 45 from the clubhouse on the far corner. But there is Jordan Stewart. He's a player who always impresses you, isn't he?
Yeah, every time I see him, regardless if it's off the bench or from the start, I just think he's a huge amount of quality. That's what got him to move across the water to Swindon. It's what proved that Glentourney was a fantastic asset, and since he's come back to Linfield as well. So he's one that finds himself out of the team quite a bit, and it's probably more tactical than actually anything else. But from his point of view, point to prove, comes off the bench, creates quite a bit, and then ends up getting the goal already. So he'll be looking to kick on and establish himself back in the starting lineup for the run-up.
Warrenpoint back out, ready for this second half. A reminder that the league does split after this next round of games. Warrenpoint in the bottom six, and they will start their post-split run-in against Portadown. As for Linfield, it starts against Cliftonville. Incredible.
Yeah, it's a hell of a split now. When you look at for the top teams, you think, you know what, you're going into every game being it can go either way pretty much. It's not even just Cliftonville or Glentoran fighting for a title. You look at Coleraine being a top side. You've proven that in the cup final recently, and then also the likes of Crusaders as well. So very, very difficult to look at many of the games and think that's a banker win for anybody.
So it will be Warrenpoint in the blue to get the second half underway. Once Barry Gray has made his way off the pitch on this near side. He's just checking his watch. He's a stickler for time. The 15 minutes have elapsed. We're ready to go.
Yeah, tactically it looks like it's the same setup from both teams. I was interested to see if Linfield maybe abandoned the three at the back, but at the minute they've set up the exact same, and as of Warrenpoint in a 4-4-1-1, 4-4-2 system as well. So interesting to see how it progresses.
That's Hall. Devine in combat there with Daniel Byrne. Here's Miller. Kieran O'Connor giving chase forlornly. He's leading the attack today with Adam Wickstead just behind him, and it's a combination which has worked well at times.
Yeah, and in fairness, it's been consistent from the midfield, in particular this man here, Dylan, on the ball. He's not taking too many touches on it. He's looked to hook it on where possible and get them turned, so they know consistently what type of delivery is going to come in, and as a result, you can gamble. You're not looking for a ball that's never going to come to feet. You're looking and thinking, I'll gamble over a wing back and get the ball in the channel. So they've had reasonable joy from it so far.
Well, history suggests that Linfield come out on top in the final match before the split.
And as I mentioned to David Healy pre-kick-off, it was just having a conversation. It was a credit to him. I said since he's come in, I don't really remember him dropping these kind of points. He said that they've been extremely consistent against the bottom 6 teams, and then, as I said, the top sides, it kind of looks after itself, but it's he seems to drive that standard. That probably comes from his own career, his own levels, his own standards that he's had in a long career at the top level, obviously.
Yeah, they've taken 45 points from 51 points available against the bottom 6 this season. They don't tend to slip up too often.
And that's a credit to the management, and obviously the senior players as well. We mentioned Shields, mentioned Mulgrew, Johns the goalkeeper, Gallagher. They know how important these kind of games are, and these are where titles are won and lost on a sunny day in Warrenpoint. It's not always the big flashy games against Glentoran or Crusaders. Those ones look after themselves, and it's generally in and around a share of the spoils, and the ones who drop silly points are the ones that will be disappointed at the end of the day.
Here's Shields. Now Mulgrew. This is Ben Hall. Again, it's Stewart who is buzzing around the pitch in that Linfield shirt.
Yeah, the profile of their attack has changed since Vertainen's come off. It's Stewart is now obviously more of a natural 10 or winger as he would play usually. He's just floating around a little bit more with Devine as the main target, so it gives him more of a free rein to float and try and get on the ball and create.
Mulgrew keeping Wickstead at arm's length. There's Jimmy Gallagher. That's Fallon. The run made by Miller. It was matched stride for stride by Leddy.
Yeah, good ball from Fallon. In to outrun from Kirk Miller, and they'll be looking to get him on the ball a little bit more in the final third as well, because he's Mr. Assist in the Irish League, so I'm sure they'll be looking to get his right foot on the ball as much as possible.
Yeah, he can get a little bit of criticism at times, Kirk Miller.
Yeah, and it's remarkable when you consider his Linfield career today. He's probably one that flies under the radar. I think he's played 338 appearances. He's got 146 assists. That's absolutely ridiculous numbers at any level.
Yeah, normally into double figures for the season when it comes to assists. Kirk Miller, Linfield need one from him here. Salam on the other side of the pitch was seen off.
It's funny though, isn't it, how fans have maybe someone that is there for years and you find yourself criticising them and getting frustrated by them, but the numbers at the end of the day are exactly what matters. And every year, as you said, he breaks double figures. I think for the last 7 seasons he's broke double figures in assists, which is, again, remarkable numbers for him.
We saw a few of these throws from Salam in the first half. Away by Byrne. Warrenpoint conceding possession. It's coming back at them. Driven ball by Calica.
Yeah, you can see now they're slower and slower to get out of their half, Warrenpoint, and they have to try and find O'Connor as much as possible, or Wickstead if they can in defeat, get themselves up the pitch and take the pressure off, because it's a big ask to defend for 45 minutes against Linfield.
Well, Barry Gray just felt that the gap between Warrenpoint and those above has become bigger this season, with those above signing experienced players. Warrenpoint had attracted players here by more or less guaranteeing them game time, but that's not been as much of a pull recently.
Yeah, I think previously they've utilised the loan system as well, where the likes of a Linfield would send them down younger players, or Cliftonville Crusaders would send them players, and they, as you said, they go and get game time, and they flourished as a result of it. But predominantly he's been looking to recruit from the Irish League or from the lower echelons of the southern market if possible. So it's probably less knowledge of the league, and it's probably led to a little bit more inconsistency at times.
It's Ray O'Sullivan who's down here, and that's why the referee has stopped play.
Yeah, holding the shoulder.
Wickstead, I should say, sorry.
Things. Yeah, Wickstead, shoulder or collarbone. I know Warrenpoint, I was speaking to Andy Coleman and Francis McCafferty on the bench there at half-time, and as a club they've been struggling with injuries, so they won't be looking for anything too serious, and a little bit of an impact with Mulgrew. Hopefully he can walk it off, but he doesn't look in a great way at the minute.
Well, he had a lively first half, Adam Wickstead, so Warrenpoint will not want to lose him.
Yeah, he looks like he's all good again, so that's good. Maybe just looking to slow the game down for his team, take the pressure off and kill it at times.
Stewart on the move again, in combat with Ray O'Sullivan. He's digging his heels in, Stewart, as is O'Sullivan. And the battle still goes on, and Linfield emerge with the ball, and Warrenpoint somehow survive, but this is Shields. Kieran O'Connor got back goal side to rob him of the ball.
Yeah, great quality there by Stewart again. Fallon looked to get on the ball then as well, so he's got involved. Stewart's done really well. Ball stays on the line. Fallon shows a little bit of quality, puts it across the box, scramble, and from there then Shields gets caught in possession and a little break for Warrenpoint. So they've got away with one, but again you see the quality of Stewart and the final ball of Fallon.
Forward by Byrne. Too much on that for Kieran O'Connor.
Yeah, wasteful from Byrne. They haven't had a chance to put their foot in the ball or keep the ball in the opposition's half, and we've just given them back possession, and allows Linfield to build again and put more and more pressure on. And considering how much pressure already, and it's only 53 minutes, you're looking to try and take the pressure off at times and pass the ball if you can.
There's Roscoe. Fallon on the charge. Devine waiting in the middle. And Devine gets there ahead of hand. There's Fallon again. Now Stewart. Away from Dillon. Stewart again. Salam with the cross over the head of Miller. And it's dropped to Mulgrew. And off the line. And over the top.
Oh,
how did that not go in?
It's a fantastic move down the left. Stewart takes his time, sets up Salam. It's a fantastic ball in the box. And you can see Linfield boys just lining up to try and put it home. Salam checks his run, puts a good delivery in. Mulgrew at the back stick, not the best contact. Oh, and he's got to do better, Devine. The first effort's done brilliant by Byrne to clear it, the second one's got to go in the net, and that could be the difference.
Ethan Devine turning up and passing up that opportunity. Well, Daniel Byrne doing what defenders have to do, fear the worst, get back on your line, and he dealt with it.
Yeah, and in fairness to Devine, he was quick to react. He just snatches at it and puts it over the bar. The one thing you're looking for him not to do, you're thinking hit the target, keep your head over the ball and keep it down, but he's hoping he'll get another opportunity to make up for that at some stage. And 55 minutes in, you're thinking Linfield will, because the possession they have and the territory they have, it'll build to more chances.
Well, he says he relishes the pressure and the responsibility of playing for Linfield. He always feels something will drop to him inside the box, and we've just seen that there, but he was unable to finish off the opportunity.
And he's done well so far, considering how few starts he's had in a Linfield jersey. He's got 3 goals and 10 appearances, so he'll be looking to kick on and get himself his 4th in the last 35 minutes or so, and it could be a pivotal one going forward in the title race.
Devine was the target there. That's Dillon. Gallagher trying to hold off O'Connor. Slip from O'Connor. He's on loan at Warrenpoint from Glentoran. Gallagher was in strongly. There's Keelan Dillon. Now Shields. Free kick goes the way of Warrenpoint, and could be a pollen for Kieran O'Connor on this side of the pitch, because he is sat on the deck.
Yeah, you can see Shields not too happy with the free kick being given away, and I think he's got away with a little bit of petulance of flinging the ball to the ground. But well done, Warrenpoint, able to pass the ball, get a hold of it in the opposition half, calm it down a second or two, and that's key. You can't just expect to defend for 45 minutes and get away with it.
Well, Kieran O'Connor is back on his feet. Warrenpoint are preparing a couple of changes down below us as that gets beyond ball. Alan O'Sullivan, their leading scorer, is one of those who is about to enter the fray. 12 goals to his name this season. And it will be Kieran O'Connor, who just hit the deck a few moments ago. He will make way.
Yeah, credit to O'Connor, he's done well. He's put a good shift in for the team. It's a warm day. He's put in 60 minutes and held the ball up as much as possible, and O'Sullivan now looks to come on fresh legs and maybe get a goal to get Warrenpoint ahead again.
And also coming on is Luke Wade Slater. And it will be Adam Wickstead who makes way. So effectively it was a bit of a front two. Wickstead and O'Connor. Wickstead operating just behind O'Connor. Those two are withdrawn. Yeah,
you can only imagine it's mainly for fresh legs, the top end. O'Connor did look a little bit stiff and sore, and obviously Wickstead had gone down with the little knock earlier on with Mulgrew. So straight swap, it looks like a similar system again. Wade Slater will come in behind O'Sullivan and look to be a threat, and fresh legs to get them to take the pressure off the back four and get them up the pitch.
Linfield starting today 1 point above second place Cliftonville, with a better goal difference too by 11, 4 points above Glentoran. And it's always good as well, isn't it, when there's a little bit of needle between the clubs, and David Healy has been forthcoming in his view, saying that Glentoran, with the level of investment they've made, should be ahead of every other club.
Yeah, and I think, listen, there's nothing wrong with that. You look at the investment that's come in at Glentoran, you look at the investment that's come in at Larne. I think Linfield, obviously they've never been broke themselves, but they've never got a big financial backer. So that's just shifting a little bit of the pressure across the city, I'm sure, and making McDermott and his boys feel it a little bit in the running.
Yeah, David Healy says it would be a failure if Glentoran weren't successful this season. A little bit of mind games going on in the title race. There's ball for Warrenpoint, who have put them in front, but he's lost out there to Salam. Miller. What you would say about David Healy is that he's made a name for himself as manager of Linfield, serial title winner. Not just that, but producing players as well.
Yeah, it's a surprise to me that he's not linked with more jobs across the water, to be honest. We had this discussion, myself and Stephen Robinson, the manager at St Mirren, would know him really well, and obviously can see what he's done over a number of years here, but maybe he doesn't get the credit he deserves because he's at traditionally the biggest club in the league. So people think, no, it must be easy. It's an easy job, but it's far from the case, and he's driven a standard since the minute he's came in the door. So I'm sure he'll have the ambition to go again.
Well, the double chance for Devine earlier on in the second half.
And I'm being harsh on him. I actually think the second one possibly skims off the top of the crossbar after fantastic off the line. Oh, so I think it makes it look like he misses by a million miles, but it skims the top of the bar and takes off. That it could be pivotal depending on how the last half an hour goes.
Just going back to David Healy, when he took the job in 2015, the hierarchy said to him, "You're not just here for the short term, are you? This isn't a stepping stone," and he committed his future to the club. He's a Linfield fan, of course, David Healy, growing up a Linfield fan as a boy. 6 years on, he's delivered title after title, cup after cup.
Yeah, I'm sure the international job at some stage in his future would be something he'd be looking at as a potential avenue as well, because obviously a legend of the Northern Ireland national team, and they'll have seen on the doorstep at Windsor what he can do with a team. So it'll be an interesting one to see how his career develops, that's for sure.
Ian Barraclough will be after you later.
I said
a
long time in the future, a long time in the future.
There you go. Off the head of Dylan Hand. Linfield looking to threaten for a second. Miller closing in and fired goalwards by Mulgrew, and somehow it stayed out again. Connor Mitchell in the way.
Oh, and I think Mulgrew's possibly hit it too well. The ball's a fantastic delivery into the box again. Again, you have numbers going in. I think it's Miller at the back post, helps it back across. You think for everything that happens, it's going to go in from Mulgrew, but somehow Mitchell gets enough on it and it spins around the post and goes out for a corner.
The pressure building on the Warrenpoint goal. Miller's corner, bodies tumble inside the box. And the referee unmoved.
Yeah, you can see Jimmy Gallagher looking to get on the end of it. A lot of pressure from Byrne. And just not enough contact at the back stick by Roscoe. But here's the chance again. You see it back across. You think Mulgrew must have scored. And I don't know how the goalkeeper has got that round the post, but Mitchell has done fantastic. He shows his quality, moves his feet. And it's a fantastic save in the end, and credit to him.
Two big chances for Linfield in this second half.
That man there has proved his quality all day so far, whether it be taking crosses, taking aerial balls, and making a few good saves as well. So if Warrenpoint are going to get anything out of this, I'm sure he's going to have a big half an hour to come.
That's Fallon looking to set Devine away. He's a little bit calmer now, just about.
Yeah, I think he's trying to hide from something, whether it be the sun, I'm not too sure, but he was worried about getting burnt with the sun today, but I'm sure he'll be reason to be happy even still. I know he was 1-0 up, but if you'd offered him one each after 60 minutes at home to Linfield, I'm sure he would have taken it.
Well, he was very open ahead of this, saying he was dreading this game today. He's had sleepless nights, as Barry Gray.
And in fairness to him, I think usually you'd look at that and think, oh, a little bit of mind games and put the pressure on Linfield, but I think he's been that disappointed and maybe just that frustrated with recent performances, and ultimately the bottom of the league, no one likes to lose games. He wants to win games and kick on and get this club established in the top flight rather than being a yo-yo club if they can in the future.
Dylan. Gallagher. There's Ben Hall, formerly of Brighton. And that will carry straight through to Mitchell. And a bit of frustration for Linfield.
Again, it's not a delivery they'll be looking for too often because they only have Devine as a target with Stewart alongside him, and you'll be looking to move the ball around and expose them in wide areas. Playing a 4-4-2 against them, they're looking to get the likes of Miller one-on-one wide or Salam one-on-one wide if you can, but the long straight ball is not an effective tactic.
Warrenpoint with a man down, and Ball brought that ball under his spell, but he was offside. Which is why the referee has brought play to a halt. Gallagher. Linfield do have the experience of seeing the job through when it comes to winning the title. They did lose quite a bit of experience in the summer when they went from part-time to full-time, but they still got players here who know how to win titles. Right now, it's all about finding a winner in this contest. There's Mulgrew. And the shot is wide that time. Fallon taking aim, but it didn't swing goalwards.
Yeah, again, fantastic quality from Stewart in the wing, puts it back into Mulgrew, skips beyond a few, and then Fallon has the quality from there, proven it over a number of years and even as a youth player at Swansea, but just cuts across it a little bit too much and it never quite makes the goalkeeper work.
Linfield are asking the questions here. Ball in a race with Hall. Ball brings the ball under his spell. He's got Dillon there as a backup. Here is Keelan Dillon. He puts too much lift on that, and it's out of the ground.
Yeah, in his defence, I think he takes a little bit of a bobble, but there was a good battle down the left-hand side, and Ball did well to shift it, and that's kind of where you're looking at the likes of Dillon. Can he give us a little bit of quality from midfield and give O'Sullivan and them something to attack and try and kick on and get themselves a second goal, but not quite worked out. And now you've got Jake Hasty coming on, which shows you the level of depth and quality that is here at Linfield and the type of recruitment that David has done over the last couple of years.
Yeah, Hasty on. Salam leaves the scene. Linfield are looking to crack the code here. Off the header ball. Mulgrew, her Shields. Now Stewart. This is Hall being pursued by Ball. Those two in a scrap again, and the free kick has gone against the Warrenpoint man.
I tell you what, if that whistle hadn't come, that is fantastic ability from Ball.
Do you think he would have attempted it?
I really hope he would have, because I think it drops on the goal line and bounces in. So, but no, good pressure, and ultimately I think it's the right decision. It was a free kick.
There's Mulgrew. Mitchell with eyes and hands on it.
Yeah, he's done well again. Solid set of hands all day. Every time the cross has come in the box, he's come and claimed it, looked nice and assured and calmed the game down. But it'll be interesting to see now if Linfield, again, they haven't changed the system. Hasty's gone a straight swap for Salam on the left side, so can they get him on the ball now as well? Proven quality in England and Scotland over a number of years, and he'll be looking to kick on and have a real influence going into the last 25 minutes or so.
Josh Wilson is about to come on for Warrenpoint. There's Ball. Warrenpoint are bottom of the league. Their chances of staying up are very, very slim now. You would suggest that Linfield's need is the greater here, because they know they cannot afford any kind of slip-up because of the two who are behind them. Gallagher. Sullivan giving chase to this, and there to greet him was Johns.
Yeah, it all comes from Jake Hasty giving the ball away too easy on the left-hand side, and in fairness to Warrenpoint, it's probably been a rare passage of play for them through midfield. Little flick over the top, and O'Sullivan, that's what he'd been hoping for. Doesn't quite catch it, but Johns does well and spreads himself to give away the corner.
This is Warrenpoint change with Josh Wilson coming on. He will replace Daniel McKenna.
Yeah, they're not out of this game yet. Warrenpoint, they obviously were under the cosh first 15 minutes or so of the second half, but they've had a little bit of a bounce now of late, and fresh legs at the top of the pitch has obviously helped them. And Linfield have to be careful at the back as well, not to give them something else and a little bit more encouragement.
Well, they did beat Linfield here last season, Warrenpoint. Their only home win against Linfield, their only win against Linfield. But they're looking for a second goal here. The corner driven in over the head of O'Sullivan. It was Hall who took charge for Linfield. Then Byrne goes down, caught just outside the box.
Yeah, good experience. I think he knows he's never going to get the ball after it, but he knows if he gets there first, he's a good chance of getting a free kick off Gallagher, and I think the ball's ultimately going out of play, but it's a good decision by the referee, and again, a massive chance here for them. They threatened in the first half, they went keeper's side, and Mr. Johns was enough for it, but I'll have a look at it and see again, ball over it, and see if they can and have a look at it.
Yeah, it was Leddy who struck the one in the first half. He is also in the vicinity. But it looks like the stage has been left to Stephen Ball.
Again, you look at the size of the wall here and you think it has to go keeper side. It has to look for a little deflection, a little nick, because to get up and over from there would be very, very difficult.
It's Ball straight at that wall. Ball again, picks up the pieces, was unable to slalom his way through, and it's Miller leading the charge out for Linfield. There's Hasty. Warrenpoint got back in their numbers. Shields.
Yeah, the little bit of pressure from Warrenpoint seems to have woke Linfield up again now. Their tempo has gone up again, so easing into the last 20 minutes, they need to start creating and getting shots off at the goal, because they haven't threatened now since their equaliser pretty much towards the end of the half, and obviously the early chance for Devine as well, so they'll be looking for more in the running.
Well, Gallagher blocking off O'Sullivan. The referee saw nothing wrong with it.
Yeah, I think good experience from Gallagher, realises that O'Sullivan possibly has the run on him and checks the run.
Mulgrew giving the ball away to O'Sullivan, who asked too much of Wilson. But this game is up for grabs.
Yeah, you can hear a little bit of frustration from the Linfield fans who've travelled down as well. They'd have maybe come down here expecting a 2 or 3-0 victory, comfortable, but it's far from that at the minute. Yeah, we're looking here again at Gallagher just stepping across the line of O'Sullivan. You can see the frustration of O'Sullivan because he knows exactly what Gallagher has done. He stopped the attack, but it's one of them, a tough one for the referee to give maybe, but good experience from Gallagher and stops a guaranteed attack.
Kieran Evans is being readied by Linfield down below us. Player on loan at Linfield from Cardiff City. Mulgrew. Wilson holds him off.
You wonder what way will they go with the change. Will they change the system? Will they keep Shields on but maybe push him back into the back three potentially? Because you're looking at it with two traditional midfielders in Shields and Mulgrew. Do you maybe sacrifice one of them and go with someone a bit more attacking at the top end potentially?
Well, no matter what happens from here on in, Barry Gray has got the response he was looking for from his Warrenpoint players today after what happened here on Tuesday and what he called 6 minutes of madness where they lost their self-respect.
Yeah, and I think, listen, that's all he can ask for. They're obviously in a tough position in the league, and he's just looking for them to put the effort in. That's all you can ask at this stage, and try their best and be honest and work hard, and I think they've done that to them, to a man today, so they're obviously hoping to hold on, but this is good play by Linfield.
Miller's cross, and the header goes over the top. Stewart closing in again.
Good interplay there again, worked it around nice and patient, good hold-up play by Devine, good delivery. They haven't got Miller in this position enough today, and it's Stewart, one of the smaller players on the pitch, rises well, just doesn't get himself over it and can't get it on target.
The change made, Stephen Fallon is withdrawn, and on comes Kieran Evans.
Yeah, it looks like it'll be a little bit of a rejigging potentially in the system. It looks like Evans has maybe gone to the right side and Miller's gone through the middle potentially with Stewart and Devine. Possibly more of a 3-4-3 now than a 3-5-2.
Yeah, Fallon off and Kieran Evans on. Player who is useful with both feet. Kieran Evans, as he will try and make things happen for Linfield in the final 15 minutes here.
Yeah, so Mr. Healy has played his cards now. He's put Miller, he's put Hasty, Stewart, all the attacking players in the final third. Evans out in the wing as well, so they'll look to move them around as much as possible and create a few chances if they can, because they've dipped off a little bit.
Evans involved here. Devine waiting for Linfield. A miscue from Ball. Her Shields. O'Sullivan.
Yeah, good play for O'Sullivan there, getting a hold of the ball, getting up the pitch. They can slow it down now and look to conserve it and try and get the foot in the ball again in the opposition half if they can.
Well, don't forget, Glentoran are in action at the Oval on Monday against Carrick Rangers, a game you can see live on Sky Sports. If it stays this way, they will go into that game with a spring in their step.
Yeah, I've no doubt there's quite a few people watching or hoping and waiting.
Well, here's a chance, and that flick across the face of goal. There's Warrenpoint, Hunter winner.
That's the thing, you never know. I was just about to say there's quite a few people holding on for, hoping to hold on for a point, but you never know with this game as well. Warrenpoint have built back into its second half, and you never know, you could end up with a late chance here.
It's Ball. Dillon. Ball again. The flag goes up to frustrate him.
Yeah, that's a couple of times he's got caught out when he's looking across the line as well, so that's frustrating from a manager's point of view, but better play by Warrenpoint and keep putting the ball in the box and you never know what can happen.
What may well be on Barry Gray's mind is that they lost late against Crusaders last week when they were going for the win, because only wins will do for Warrenpoint in their position right now.
The challenge now for Linfield is that they're ending up with almost a front five. They're just in a line, so they've got to stagger a little bit, Devine as the target, and get the likes of Stewart and Miller off him in holes if they can, because if they stand in a straight line, it's very difficult to create anything.
Here is Miller, who wants to end his career with his beloved Linfield. Linfield have had the better chances in this second half, but they've been unable to take them, mainly because of great defending from Daniel Byrne and a brilliant stop too from Connor Mitchell. Shields trying to pick out Miller, but too much on it.
Yeah, I think there's a little bit of frustration in that from Shields, to be honest, because it's a longer kind of straight ball. He knows that's not ideal what they're looking for. Can they get Hasty to stretch the pitch on the left? Can they get Evans on the right and look to get the talent in around Devine as well with the likes of Stewart and Miller? But we've not seen enough of it. It's a tough day for it. Any result will do, and we have 10 minutes here to grind it out.
Nervous moments for those Linfield fans, because they know that Cliftonville and Glentoran want to walk into Windsor and rip that title trophy away from them.
and everyone will look at this as a banker away win as well. So it's one of them where it'll be a lift for the teams around them. No one would have really expected anything from it, and they would have thought, you know what, we just keep doing our business and hope Linfield drop points in the split. But this would be a massive boost for both if they can going into the split.
A reminder, that first game in the split for Linfield, Cliftonville at Solitude, followed by Glentoran. As this title race, compelling title race, comes to a conclusion.
Yeah, the games don't get easier, that's for sure.
Away by Byrne, here's Shields. Now Hall. Anywhere will do for Daniel Byrne. Shields trying to take the fight to Warrenpoint. And it was Leddy who stepped across his path.
Yeah, people talk about bravery and different things like that, but that's bravery to take the ball. He's looking to grab the game with a scruff of the neck in the last 10 minutes, get on the ball, jink past people, win a free kick in the final third. That's what you want from your senior players, and that shows what he's all about.
Booking for Leddy. Will there be further punishment here for Warrenpoint? Miller is standing over this. Can he deliver another assist in that Linfield shirt? Gallagher is forward from the back again. Always useful in the air. And smashed away by Keelan Dillon.
Again, that's the second time today. Miller will be disappointed, a man of his quality, not to put a better delivery into the box, but it's not dead yet. You can see waves of attack now from Linfield. Can Warrenpoint hold on? Can they try and get themselves out again and try and find O'Sullivan and get up the pitch?
We are into the final 10 minutes at Milltown. That gets away from Mulgrew. O'Sullivan will give chase. The keeper Johns backs off. It's an awkward bouncing ball, and O'Sullivan may get to it here. O'Sullivan sends it goalwards, and it bounces over the crossbar. Incredible!
Oh, Warrenpoint will be cursing the fact that it's a dry and solid day, because that takes a hell of a bounce. He's done tremendous. From our angle, it looks like it's going to go in. Oh, what a bounce that takes. It just takes off and goes over the crossbar. Nobody will be happier than Hall, because it was never on to head that back. He has to just take a touch and hook it over his shoulder.
He looked in trouble from the off there, Hall. And he wasn't made to pay. A quite incredible moment. How big a moment will it be in the title race? Here come Warrenpoint again. Ball. Again, he's looking for O'Sullivan. It was Roscoe in charge that time, and Warrenpoint have a corner.
Yeah, great ball down the side by Ball. Good run by O'Sullivan. Roscoe, credit to him, good defending, tracks him the whole way, and I think it's the right decision to give away a corner. But well done, Warrenpoint. Here we go again for the bounce over the crossbar. Oh, it's one of them. You're saying a prayer. You're thinking, I've done everything I can do. On another day, the pitch dies a little bit and kills it, and it goes in. But good effort by Warrenpoint, and hopefully they can keep this pressure up for the last few minutes.
Depending on what goes on in the title race, I wonder if that moment will turn out to be an iconic moment. Because that was quite incredible, the way it just skipped up over the bar.
Oh, it's a sickener for O'Sullivan, but a massive relief for David Healy and everyone involved with Linfield.
There's Keelan Dillon. Hall again reacting and finding his goalkeeper that time. Shields. There's Ball. A bit of space here for Wilson. Everything to his left. And he's still going. Eventually the challenge was made. And the decision is a corner kick.
Yeah, well done. Jordan Stewart finds himself in left wing back role as Hasty had gone kind of floating around to get on the ball. Does well, does his job to the end, and I think it's the right decision. Takes half the pitch with him, but gives away the corner kick.
Well, Warrenpoint have not played like a team that was dreading this contest. They've not played like a team bottom of this league. They are giving the champions a run for their money, and they could yet still win this. Dillon with the corner.
There's
Well,
no
there's
doubt.
never been a draw between these two when they've played here. Sorry, David.
Yeah, they're okay. There's no doubt that I'm sure the manager at Warrenpoint will be absolutely delighted with what he's got from his players today, and anyone representing the club as well will be delighted. The cameras are here, the bigger crowd have come down from Linfield, and they've put a fantastic effort in. So regardless of what happens in the last 5 minutes or so, they're a credit to the club so far.
Yeah, that kind of away support will be something that they will miss if they are relegated, if the worst does come to the worst next season and they're in the second tier. They are planning for that, but they're looking to try and upset Linfield here. That's Dillon Hand. And this is where the leaders need their big players to step up. Big players deliver big moments at important times in matches. And Linfield looking for a big moment in the final stages here.
Yeah, you wonder. Warrenpoint have had a little bit of a lift. They're almost on top now the last 5-10 minutes, so it's not exactly like Linfield are chasing down chance after chance at the minute. They had their spell just after half-time where Devine possibly should score, but Warrenpoint have had a little bit of a bounce here, and can they keep the pressure up?
Too much of a bounce at one stage.
Far too much of a bounce. They'll be cursing it. Someone should have watered that 6-yard box at half-time and they'd be 2-1 up.
The defending being done by Daniel Byrne. O'Sullivan, now Ball. Who's had an impressive game. Goal scorer 2 in this match for Warrenpoint.
Yeah, he's done really well, to be fair. He's been up and down the left side. He's been involved in most good things for Warrenpoint, whether it be treading through balls, putting good crosses in the box, and obviously, as you said, he was the one with the probably somewhat fortuitous header in the first half, but for them to take the lead.
Evans looking to protect the ball and looking for a support. Hastie's ball in. Devine will try and keep Linfield on the front foot here, but the ball has crept out of play.
Yeah, well done, Evans. Holds it up, uses a smaller frame, gets the ball out to Hastie and just puts a little bit too much on it, and all the runs have gone across the front and Devine can't rescue it. You see here, Hastie's done well to get up and support. A little bit of quality now, picks someone out, goes for the back post, but all the runners are across the front and Devine just can't keep it in.
Hastie. Stewart. Hastie's gone for the return. Being watched by Dillon. Linfield struck right at the end of the first half. Can they repeat the feat at the end of the second? Not if Keelan Dillon has got anything to do with it. Shields. That's Ball. Now Wilson. O'Sullivan will be flagged offside.
Can't be much going to be added as well here. There's the odd injury in the second half. You're thinking 2-3 minutes, so maybe 5 minutes here for Linfield to build on and try and get the chances, but Warrenpoint so far reasonably comfortable and looking to see this out and get themselves, yes, only a point, and in the scheme of things where they are in the position of the league, probably won't make a whole pile of difference, but for pride and for everything else, it would be, I'm sure, a massive boost for the staff and the players here.
Well, David Healy did challenge his players to be leading the way when the split came. This Linfield's final game before that split. They do lead their way right now. If it stays this way, they will have a 2-point advantage over Cliftonville. And
there will be loads of twists and turns. When you look at how competitive the top 6 are, and going forward, anyone can beat anyone on their day, and as you mentioned, Linfield have got to go to places like Solitude and obviously Crusaders to play, Coleraine to play as well, Larne, so every one of them are top sides, and you wonder what will be enough this year. It won't be a record high, that's for sure, to win the league.
There's Stewart. Free kick to Linfield as we edge towards additional time. And we're about to find out it will be 4 additional minutes.
And I've been reasonably critical of Kirk Miller so far with his delivery, because he's got so much quality and he's proven it over years, and this is the perfect opportunity for that man to put a good ball in the box and potentially steal the win.
In it goes from Miller, burning away. More up than out, the goalkeeper's coming for it. Didn't get near it and retreats. And again, it's Byrne who's there. It's a corner for Linfield.
Everyone throwing bodies on the line now. It's exactly what you're looking for. And can you get quality in the delivery, but can you defend like your life depends on it from a Warrenpoint point of view?
Well, Barry Gray down below is furious with the 4th official. Not particularly the 4th official personally, but the fact that Linfield have ended up with this corner kick. He's seen something different. Devine is waiting. It goes in towards Callagher. He was under pressure from Byrne. It drops behind for another Linfield corner.
Good delivery from Hasty into a good area. Good defender from Warrenpoint, and that's what they have to do. They've got to stay solid here. Just under 3 minutes to hang on.
Callagher waiting to pounce for Linfield. It goes into a great area, and there's the header that finds the back of the net. How big a moment will that be for Linfield? Big players deliver big moments in title races, and Linfield late on here may well have snatched a win to break Warrenpoint hearts. And Devine, who had that wonderful chance earlier on, didn't take it. He made sure he got to this one.
What a fantastic delivery, but you have to question who's picking him up. Devine gets a little run, that's all it is, but he's heading that home from 4 or 5 yards out. Cool as you like, missed a big chance at the start of the half, but he's come back and shown what he's all about, and fair play to the young lad. His 4th goal for Linfield. Fantastic, and well done, Linfield.
Deja vu, twice in additional time. Once at the end of the first half, now at the end of the second. Linfield have delivered.
And that's what champions do, and that's why they're where they are. And as I mentioned at the start of the game, David Healy doesn't drop many points in these games, and you can see the fans behind the goal they were worried 30 seconds ago, but they're celebrating like they've won now, and they're loving life, and fair play to Linfield because they kept battering the door down.
That's what makes special teams the teams they are. It's what makes champions. Don't give up. And for Warrenpoint, who've had narrow defeat after narrow defeat apart from the other night in the second half of the season, their hearts have been ripped out in their own home. Unless there's another dramatic moment here. Linfield doing the defending now. It's O'Sullivan who fires it over the top, and you think back now to that moment he had earlier on.
Oh, he's had the big chances as he's come on. One good save from Johns, one bounce over the line, and this one's massive. Can he get his head over it, his knee over it, and hit it down? Unfortunately, the ball is still rising, and that could be the difference. That's the last chance you'd imagine for Warrenpoint.
Just another day at the office for David Healy.
No, he'll be absolutely delighted, because as much as it looks easy on paper, it's a tough, tough game. And they've done brilliant to hang in there and keep battering the door down. And if they steal a 2-1, nobody will be happier than Mr. Healy going back up the road.
The Linfield fans in full voice. There's the whistle. It's a huge moment in the title race, because it looked like Linfield were about to spill points on Warrenpoint soil, but they kept going, they dug in, and they've managed to rescue this game and tighten their grip on top spot. Dramatic moments late on here. Devine scoring the winner, but that after Warrenpoint had almost won it themselves. And that moment for Alan O'Sullivan when the ball skipped over the crossbar when it looked like he was about to win it for them. But Linfield have taken the points. And Diarmid, how big a win is that?
Absolutely massive. There'll be Glentoran fans and Cliftonville fans and everyone else in the top six sitting in the house disgusted, no doubt, but you feel bad for Warrenpoint. They've tried hard, they worked their hardest throughout the whole game. They had an early goal, they held on for as long as they could. But Linfield, credit to them, credit to the subs, credit to the staff, and good quality.
Let's get some reaction to that. Let's join Graham.
So you just, Jordan Stewart with me. Jordan, what an impact you made. Sum up the afternoon for you.
Yeah, we know coming down here is going to be a difficult day. You know, they're fighting for their lives. It meant an awful lot to them of the day, as it did us. And we didn't get off the best of starts, and I'm always disappointed not to play. And you know, come on and made an impact. That's the most important thing. Ethan's grabbed the winner, so it's a big, big day for us.
Jordan, I was watching our brilliant slow-mo pictures after you scored. You were staring at the Linfield dugout. What was all that about after you'd scored? Were you making a point?
It's not about me today, you know, it's about the team. You know, it's a massive 3 points in the title race. But, you know, I had a point to prove today. Too often or not, I find myself out of this team, and I don't always agree with that. So I've come on today, I've made an impact, and the main thing is we've won the game.
How much of a difference will this make now? The fact that you're 4 points clear in the title race. Cliftonville aren't playing this weekend. You'll be at least a week on top of 4 points.
Yeah, we've been in this position before. We know it's not done yet. Cliftonville have had an unbelievable season. They're still they're on for a treble. You know, make no bones about it. They're going to be tough opposition. First game in a split, so it's up to us now. It's in our hands.
Your players are walking in behind you. Just sum up the spirit in this squad, Jordan.
Oh yeah. Spirit's massive in this squad. You know, experience-wise, we've been about the block and we've done it. And thankfully, we've managed to dig out the 3 points today. We weren't brilliant, but we've got there in the end.
Do you back yourselves now to transform, go ahead this season?
We need to be a lot better than today, but you know, if we match the commitment levels, I don't see why not.
Jordan, thank you for joining us.
Thanks very much. Thank you.
Let you go in and enjoy the celebrations. Let's have a quick check on the table then. There's the results from earlier. Ballymena United beat Larne 3-1. There's that result. Linfield 2, Warrenpoint Town 1. My goodness, they had to work for it. And it means that they are 4 points clear at the top. Linfield just 5 games to go. Just remember, we'll remind you the next Irish Premiership action on Sky Sports is only a few days away. On Monday night, Glentoran host Carrick Rangers at the Oval. Kickoff is at 7:45. We'll be on air just before that. And then Northern Ireland are in action 24 hours later. Ian Barraclough's men host Hungary at the National Stadium, Windsor Park, in an international friendly. Well, this one turned out to be far from the routine run-out that may be expected for the champions Linfield, but they came through it nonetheless. They now enjoy a 4-point cushion at the top of the Danske Bank Irish Premiership at Warrenpoint Town. It's in yet another game where they'll be wondering how on earth they lost it from the position that you were in. Hope you enjoyed the coverage. We'll see you next time. Bye for now.